Hey, I thought you wanted to start a crypto course today.
I don't feel like it.
So how is your course? What did you learn today?
I haven't started yet. There are 50 classes. It's gonna take a while, so I really need to, mentally prepare.
Hey, come over here. The weather is amazing.
Yeah, I'm coming. Just one more class. Hey guys, welcome to Lingua Marina. I bet you had similar situations where you were like, I really want to do this, but not now. I need at least a week to decompress, and then I will start doing things. Today, we're gonna talk about ways to motivate yourself to study, be more productive, do and learn more. Now, if you think you're lazy, don't think you're lazy, you're actually smart. Because our body works in a way that it prevents us from wasting energy on things that we don't necessarily deem important. So it's not about forcing yourself, it's about actually believing that you need to do something. But also another thing, when people tell you, oh, when you find something you love, you won't have to work for the rest of your life. Which is kind of true. When you do what you love, you have more motivation to do it, you're more excited. But also, I love blogging, but I still have to work. I still have to sit down and write scripts. Sometimes it's not too exciting to just read the bunch of material about the topic and some material turns out to be irrelevant. Sometimes I feel really tired, but I have the schedule that I want to follow. So sometimes it's work and it's okay. But it's important to understand that if you like something, I would say 50 to 60% of it should feel like fun, but 40% will still feel like work, so you will have to ask yourself to do things. One of the things that really works for me is actually creating a schedule where I batch tasks. I'm on this new schedule that I started in 2022. Monday and Tuesday, I only focus on filming because, again, if I have calls on Monday and Tuesday, it is really easy for me to lose this mood when I want to talk to the camera. And so once I'm in that mood, it can last for the whole day and I don't want to lose it. I don't want to cut my day into two halves with one call. So it's super important to batch tasks. So Monday, Tuesday, I film. Wednesday is our nanny's day off, so I'm with a kid. Thursday, Friday is when I have calls and when I have my therapy sessions or maybe a massage, so something for myself to relax. So it's good to have this schedule. But another trick that I use, sometimes on a Thursday or on a Friday, I have this urge to talk to a camera. Now, you have an urge to do something. Don't tell yourself, but this is not the day. If you really feel like it, let yourself go. So this schedule is only for you to plan your future, to not allow people to intrude into the days when you're the most creative. But it's also super important to follow those urges when your body is like, okay, let's film, I want to talk to a camera, or let's go for a walk, let's do some sports. The same thing applies to reading books. What I've noticed is that a lot of people would tell me, oh, I read like 100 books a year. I'm like, I could barely read 2. And I was wondering, why is that happening? Because I do have time. I can listen to a book when I'm falling asleep. I can listen to a book when I'm walking with a baby. There are plenty of opportunities during the day. And what I realized this year is actually I was forcing myself to read some of the books. And if I'm forcing myself to read a book, it can take up to half a year. Because I'm like, when I'm driving, oh, I'd rather listen to this YouTube video because that book got really boring. So I changed my strategy. I told myself, Marina, it's absolutely okay to listen. Well, I give every book at least an hour of listening because sometimes it gets better and better. So I was like, okay, let's do an hour. But if in an hour I realize that this book is not interesting, I just stop listening to it. Before, I would have this guilt about like, oh, maybe there is this key thought in the last chapter. Now, if I have those thoughts, I would just read like a short version of that book and that's it. Now I just drop a book if it's not interesting and I start reading something that interests me the most today. And this way I've been able to consume a book a week just because if it's interesting, I would prioritize it over other entertaining things like Instagram. Now, another trick is accountability. My husband gave me Apple Watch for Christmas and I was like, I already had Apple Watch. I forget to charge it. Like, I don't need it. But this thing, accountability, so I have a couple friends. I'm so bad at exercising and we actually set goals all together. And we're challenging each other like, oh, you need to stand for 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day. And we don't necessarily call each other every day. This is the way we connect and see each other's progress. And it's been really helpful. Doesn't have to be Apple Watch and exercising, could be anything. Accountability groups, small Telegram chat or small WhatsApp group where you share what you've learned. If you don't have friends, which kind of the reality of today's world, and I was there as well. We can talk about this in a separate video. But if you don't have someone you could ask to be your accountability group, you can just do like a jar. I like this method as well. I just found out about it recently. You can create a jar. And when you have this goal, for example, I want to read, 24 books this year. And you have a jar for every goal. And you write about the book that you've read on a sticker and you put it there. And this creates this mental like celebration of accomplishing the goal. And because you've actually split your goal into smaller goals, it's a lot easier to move further. Now let's talk about boring subjects. I went to university 5 years, and believe me, 90% of the stuff was super boring. So something I asked the teacher, and my husband did the same, we studied together. He asked on the first class, like, how can I apply this to real life? The problem with my education was, it was amazing, like Russian education is one of the best in terms of like physics, mathematics, statistics. But in terms of real world application, I think it could do better. And so we had this, financial markets class led by a professor who has never bought a stock in her whole life. So I had to get myself motivated about that class because I couldn't get inspired by her, but I could get inspired by financial markets. And we had this class just when the world financial crisis of 2008 hit. So I was reading everything about it because it was so real and it was happening. And suddenly everything I studied in the class started making sense. Like, oh, now I know what it means when stocks just lost 90% of its value and the company's shutting down, or I know when companies fail to pay on their bonds, etc. So I've learned all of that because I found something in real world where I can apply that knowledge. So if you're bored in a class, ask your teacher, how can I apply this knowledge in the real life right now, today, and start your research from there. Practicing self-care is also super important. This is why I mentioned that my schedule includes a massage every week. I just know I love it, and I know I have to kind of give this gift to myself. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be a massage. Even a walk in the nature is something that can really change your attitude. We really need this physical exercise, especially when we sit and stare at the computer all day. Now, sometimes we also avoid to do things because we dread something that we're afraid of. So for example, you're afraid to take a test because you know you might fail, and you will hate yourself for that. And this is actually from psychology, but we hesitate taking the test because we think that if we fail the test, it's gonna be so bad that it's gonna be worse than not actually taking the test. You see what I mean? But the best way to fight your fear is live through a situation, the worst case scenario in your mind. Like, okay, I take TOEFL and I fail. What's happening? Like, when you start living through it, you would tell yourself, oh, okay, I will just go back and prepare even more, and I will have my grades, and I will understand which areas are the worst and which areas are the weakest. And this will actually help you succeed faster. So if you're procrastinating and not doing things just because you're afraid that you're gonna fail, play this worst case scenario in your head and go ahead, do it. And if you're gonna fail, it would only help you reach your goal faster. And the last but not the least, this mind trick that I've been using as well. You can do 10 minutes, you can do 25 minutes, you can call it Pomodoro, you can call it a 10-minute rule, whatever. If there is a task that you hate, like I have to go through this legal document and it's super long, and I don't want to do it just because I know it's going to take hours, but I allow myself to stop going through it in 10 minutes or in 20 minutes. Like, if I don't like it, then I'm gonna stop. In some cases, it happens that way that I will actually continue because I will get into the activity. It's like with sports, like just go to the gym and then you will get into the mode. The same with any task. Like, if you don't like it, you're gonna stop in 10 minutes, absolutely fine. But if you like it, then you'll just keep going. That was it for me, guys. If you like this video, watch another one where I talk about the best ways to study effectively. If you're not yet subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button down below, and I will see you very soon in the next videos. Bye bye.